For today's stories, we'll be taking a look at how WWE was just caught reusing an old segment for Seth Rollins' return, why Bianca Belair is putting her hair on the line, and more. Let's start things off with Seth Rollins' return. Seth Rollins has been away from WWE ever since last November, so it was a long 3 months away from WWE, and it was a long enough time away that does deserve a big return. Seth Rollins was a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble, and has now returned to SmackDown a few weeks later. So let's get into the actual return itself. The first thing that you'll notice is that yes, the Burn It Down theme song has returned. This was Seth Rollins' babyface theme song before transitioning into the Messiah character. When Seth Rollins turned heel and transitioned into the Messiah persona, the Burn It Down theme song was no longer a good fit for her character, so WWE changed his music. However, during his SmackDown return, Seth Rollins surprisingly came out to the Burn It Down theme song. The big question here is, will that Burn It Down theme song actually stay with Seth Rollins, or was it just bait to make us think he was returning as a babyface? That question still remains unanswered, but it seems like that was the purpose of that entire segment. Seth Rollins mentioned becoming a father over his break. He was sharing a lot of his personal life. He seemed like he was normal again, but at the flip of a switch, he was back to being the Messiah character. So now that we had that confirmation that he's still heel and still out of his mind, we'll have to see if the Burn It Down theme song will remain, or will he switch back to the Messiah theme. There were two noticeable flaws with Seth Rollins' return segment. The first flaw being that it literally was a reskinned, reused segment from Seth Rollins' meeting with the Raw locker room. In that segment from a few years back, Seth Rollins had the entire locker room come out to listen to him speak, but he quickly started to lose the interest of the other WWE superstars, and they all slowly started walking back. But one of the superstars stayed behind, and that was Kevin Owens, who would then go on to become a part of Seth Rollins' next feud. So that entire segment was literally reused from start to finish here with Seth Rollins' return to SmackDown. Seth Rollins comes out surrounded by the entire locker room. He started to lose them, so they all walked back. But Cesaro stays behind to confront Seth Rollins. It seems like Cesaro vs. Seth Rollins will be the plan going forward on SmackDown. But it was still a big return. It felt special to see everyone at ringside. But yeah, you can't ignore the fact that it was literally copy and pasted the segment from a few years ago. The other flaw with Seth Rollins' return promo was Roman Reigns. What exactly does that mean? Well, Seth Rollins is out there saying how he runs SmackDown, how he's the leader of SmackDown, and how everyone needs to follow him. Well, where's Roman Reigns throughout all this, and is he hearing this? The Roman Reigns character that we've been seeing so far over the last few months is obsessed with being the main event and being the leader for SmackDown. He believes that SmackDown is only relevant because of him, and that everyone else plays no role. So to have Seth Rollins out here basically saying he's SmackDown's leader, it just feels like Roman Reigns should have had something to say about that. Roman should view that as a disrespect to him and confront Seth Rollins about that. It just feels like Roman Reigns was getting called out there by Seth Rollins. Seth didn't acknowledge Roman at all, just called himself the leader of SmackDown. So did Roman hear that? Did he take offense to that? What's his reaction to that? Those are some of the questions that would be nice to know the answer to. Did Roman Reigns just not see the Seth Rollins segment and brushes it off as crazy talk? Then again, Roman Reigns probably only pays attention if you're threatening him for the Universal title, but still, it was still weird to have a superstar say that. They basically run SmackDown, and Roman Reigns didn't have a word to say about that. Hopefully it all does lead to Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins one day. Yes, that would be a heel versus heel match. We don't see that too often, but it'll still be interesting to see how Roman and Seth interact with each other, and the new characters, and all the history that they have with each other. What did you think of Seth Rollins' return, and are you excited to see Seth Rollins versus Cesaro? Let's get into the WWE superstar that's teasing losing her hair, and teasing a hair versus hair match. That superstar in question is Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair's hair plays a big role in WWE. It's been a part of her entrance, it's been a part of her character, and like we recently saw on SmackDown, she can even use her hair as a weapon. But will Bianca Belair be willing to go bald and put her hair on the line as a hair versus hair match? Bianca Belair was asked about this possibility when speaking with ESPN's Cheap Heat podcast, and had this to say in response to a possible hair versus hair match in WWE. People bring it up all the time, and they also ask, do I ever think I'll ever be a part of that? I think it's pretty much inevitable because, I mean, so much of who I am is my braid. I mean, she even has a name. Her name is Destiny, and it makes sense, right? So, and I think that it's really fun to have feuds sometimes that aren't always a part of the title picture. And if I have a hair versus hair match, I ain't gonna say it's bigger than a title. A title is pretty big, you know? But there will be a lot at stake, and I think a lot of people could get very interested in it. I don't want to lose my braid. I don't want to lose my hair. I think it would be great. I'd be down for it. Bianca Belair is obviously right. A hair versus hair match isn't as big as a title match, but it's still big enough to catch people's attention and get them invested. There's a lot of matches on Raw, SmackDown, and even pay-per-views that feel like they have no purpose at all. You don't know what these superstars are fighting for. There's nothing on the line. And when there's nothing on the line for a match, some fans lose a bit of interest. But for any hair versus hair match, fans are usually very interested because something massive is on the line. Someone's going to be bald at the end of this match. So it's easier for fans to get invested in a match like this. We were even supposed to see a hair versus hair match last summer with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Sonya kicked the story off by cutting Mandy's hair off, and that was set up for the match. Sonya Deville was originally set to lose that match, lose her hair, and go off on this dominant heel run. But due to the terrifying events that were happening outside of the ring for Sonya at the time, the match was changed around. So considering that the hair versus hair match with Sonya and Mandy never happened, it's been a while since we've seen one of these matches. At least we know Bianca Belair is down for putting her hair on the line, but who would she face off in this match? Let us know what you're thinking. What are your thoughts on today's wrestling news? Are you happy with WWE reusing a segment for Seth Rollins' return? And are you looking forward to Rollins vs. Cesaro on SmackDown? What are your thoughts on what Bianca Belair had to say about a hair versus hair match? And would you like to see that match come to life? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.